All right, welcome in, guys. We are here for some spoilers with Lorcana. We've got the set coming out again. Is Reign of Jafar. I always keep saying Jafar first, but Reign of Jafar is coming out next month, and essentially we've got all the spoilers popping in. So we're going to be looking at those spoilers. But I'm joined with some guests today, and we're going to start with Prashant. Let them know, man, where you from, where they can find you, all that good stuff.
How's it going, everyone? It's Prashant here, 1/3 of the Inkcast, and yeah, you can find me on Twitter, here, Twitch, wherever. Just look up Prashant, and you can find me.
Yeah. We're also joined by a special guest today, Misplay Matt.
How's
How
it
you
going?
doing, man?
Good, man. It's good to be here. Glad to finally get to chat with you guys. Yeah, I'm known as Misplay Matt or Matt at Additional Ink. If you want to find us, we're on YouTube. Just look up Additional Ink, and Instagram and X, we are additional_ink. So if you want to see what we're about, we do a lot of in-person gameplay, and we have a little like kind of podcast called the Ink Tank that we do. So yeah, we have a good time. So definitely come check us out if you feel so inclined.
Yeah, absolutely. They got great content over there. Again, like you said, a lot of in-person multiplayer, stuff like that. A lot of really cool stuff, especially when you guys are doing some of the multiplayer, which we don't see a lot of in content. So it's nice to see.
Yeah, we're just lucky we have enough people in the vicinity, you know. So
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, we're going to be looking at all these cards. We had a lot of cards that were spoiled on day one, and then technically now we're going to be looking at day two as well. We had a whole video for day one, got to the end of it, and a corrupted file. So we're going to review a few of those cards today. So definitely let us know down in the chat, make a comment, whatever, what cards you like that we're talking about, but even what cards did we miss? So maybe you have a favorite card you've already seen that we didn't actually hit, and maybe on one of the next episodes, we'll bring that card into there as we have different special guests all throughout the week looking at these different spoiler cards or reveals that are out there. All right, guys, so the first card we're looking at is Tramp Dapper Rascal. This guy is a 6-drop inkable. He's a 2/8. Taps for 2 lore, shift 4, and during your opponent's turn, whenever one of your characters is banished, you may draw a card. So a lot of text on this card. But yeah, I mean, it looks pretty good, but I'm curious what you guys think. Prashant, what you got over here, man?
Yeah, I think this is another card to go in the Trinidad deck. I definitely was gonna play this during set champs to give it a go. And it seems like you're just adding more cards to that arsenal, and I think it's amazing, especially since you could shift off of the smaller tramp 2 on turn 4. Makes it really, really strong, and I really like the investment that they've put in Lady and the Tramp these past 2 sets compared to what they have done with Puppies, which is basically nothing. Feels like you'd rather play this than Puppies. So yeah, good job on this card. It's definitely awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it too for Trinidogs or just a lemon lime aggro. Like once we get into rotation, I mean the fact that you can shift this on 4, like because typically in these aggro decks you're kind of gassing out around turn 4 or 5 on your cards, so you can do your draw discard strategy for the Trinibog, or just your general aggro gassing out, and then you have this card that kind of protects you from a wipe, like a Sisu or B Prep. And you can recover you can at least get cards back for your board state. So phenomenal card. I really like it.
Yeah.
Really, really good card for that archetype.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think him being inkable, because he is at that top end, right? Like if you look at the current cards we have in that set, like Lady at 5 is kind of your top end of that deck, right? But she's uninkable. So there's a lot of times where if you're running 4 of those, it feels pretty bad to draw that and then not have the 5 ink or whatever around that. Whereas with Tramp in this card, you're going to be able to ink them if you don't need them, right? And to your point, that shift 4 is going to be pretty huge when you have that either 2-drop Tramp that's currently there, or even the 3-drop Tramp that got kind of spoiled in the new set as well. So a lot of targets to shift onto, and yeah, I love that play it cool. Board wipe. Sure, you just took out 4 or 5 of my guys, but I'm just going to draw 4 or 5 cards. And in an aggro deck, I'm going to play all those when I untap. that ink and stuff. So definitely good. My only concern in general, and this is not a knock on you, Prashant, but every time we see Tramp, Lady, whatever, like that's all I'm hearing right now is like Chernadog. um and it's funny because like I feel like right the second, like that's where everybody's brain is on, especially after like when rotation happens, right? We have a whole set with this, but once rotation happens, I am curious if that deck may just be too strong if we don't get certain reprints.
Yeah, just in general, like we're seeing a lot of characters with 2 or less strength, right? And it's like, are they going to reprint Brawl or Medusa
or Sisu
to kind of counteract this? Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. We still have a lot to see, but yeah, I'm on the same wavelength. I'm a little concerned about that too.
Yeah, because again, we're losing some cards like Merfolk and some of those really aggro-y cards that are coming in there, but they reprinted a Lady that's a 1-drop that can tap for 3 if you do some right stuff and some stuff like that. So yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting what happens with some of these as we continue to look at our prints. And moving to another like just big card in general here, we've got Mickey Mouse, Giant Mouse. He's a 10/10 for 10. If you guys don't know, like in the previous sets, we had like our 9/9s for 9. Apparently now we may get a whole rotation of 10/10s for 10. We'll have to see. But this card has Bodyguard, and whenever this card is banished, he's going to deal 5 damage to each opposing character, and he also taps for 5 lore. So again, don't miss out on the fact that that's not just 1 lore pip. That's 5 lore pips on this card. So it's pretty huge.
Yeah. I honestly, this card just, at least for set 8 before rotation, just screams Steel Fossa. I'm just so ready to have this in a Mufasa deck. The fact that it has Bodyguard, it would come with Bodyguard to 10/10 and it can quest for 5 and then wipes your board if you deal with it at that point. Like, I thought Bagheera was enough of a problem for that archetype, man. This card is crazy.
Yeah.
And there's also the Mickey, the other legendary we just got, the Mickey that can play a character for free if it banishes something. So like there might be some kind of purple or red steel deck with this card too. Some really inventive stuff you can really do with this.
Yeah, I can't imagine that one coming down and you're playing this on like turn 2 or 3. Coming down, like, what are you going to do about it? Because again, like you said, you wipe it out. He's going to wipe the board out. And just kind of going off that real quick, you mentioned Bagheera. So like in Heroic, these effects are huge because one of the guys we play with, Tristan, has a Bodyguard deck, and his ally is Bagheera in his deck. And it has the whole when Bagheera is banished, he does 2 damage to everything. So he has to grab your swords. And that's come into play a lot when he's just like, I'm going to play this down as a Bodyguard. And you're like, okay, well, let me do my math. Can I actually banish it?
Yeah.
It's going to banish a board. And this one's going to have that same kind of issue with it too.
Yeah, this definitely feels like a Bagheera or Tinkerbell on steroids, like by far. Just like board wiping, can quest for 5, like that's insane. Especially when the game goes longer, since it is like a 10 cost. Like this could definitely put you over the top.
Well, and keep in mind, talking about Heroic and stuff, and again, that's something we're going to be doing when we look at these cards. Like this is a legendary, so this could be your hero or your main character in your storyboard. And yes, 10 seems pretty high, but like in these types of games, if you don't use your storyboard too much, this comes down. This can end a game with 5 lore, tapping for 5 lore, and you just got to get to 30. So he could do some real work as your main character. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
does.
We can add Mob Song. We can add Second Star to the right now. Previously to this, we didn't have a single character that you could use as your main character to have those songs in there, and this actually opens those 2 cards up to the storyboard now.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think like kind of piggybacking on your point, like that, 10 ink isn't always a lot in heroic. I mean, if you pair this with Amber and Sapphire, you have your cost reducers and your ramp, you're getting to this card very quickly in a game that takes a while. So yeah, definitely something to kind of toy around with in that format. Just a really solid card. I mean, it's applicable in multiple formats, so
Yeah, absolutely. And
really strong.
the other thing I want to point out before we head to the next one is I love the art. I love how his hand is on top of the banner, his ears kind of poking up at the top, so it does give you that perspective of giant Mickey, like he's coming off the card. So again, I don't say this much because again, Lorcana has so much good art, but there's certain cards that to me just like stand out aesthetically, and I think this just looks amazing how it's doing that.
Yeah, I definitely want to see this as an enchanted.
Yeah. Even foil, and because you have to think about the fact that this is going to get that embossed because it's legendary. So like that Mickey's going to pop out even more on this card to where it's going to look so good in person.
Yeah, just don't put in heat. That's it.
Oh yeah.
Don't let them curl up. Don't let them curl up.
Yeah, don't put any of your cards in heat.
Yeah.
Take a minute and don't leave them in your car.
Yep. So we got Lorcana Goons spoiled this one earlier today. We have Jacques, another one of those dogs and or puppies here. He is an ally, so keep in mind you can put him in your ally slot. And whenever you play this character, if you have 3 or more characters in play, you're going to gain 2 lore. Again, he taps for 1 lore on his own. So, when Goat was always coming off the top and winning you with that 1 lore and or bouncing it back, now you've got to worry about the card that can give you 2 out of nowhere. I think this card may be 100% playable, even in standard, when you have these aggro-y green decks like we talked about with the Chernodog type deck, or even just some kind of aggro-y Emerald Steel type deck,
Yeah, I think like you're running out of slots in all these decks because you have all these like good aggro cards. It's like, what do you replace? What do you take out? Luckily, they are phasing some stuff out, but yeah, this is definitely a solid surprise card. I can see this even being in like bounce, where you're just bouncing it and playing it over and over again. If you just in case you don't have the goat, you can always play this if you have enough characters on board. So yeah, it's just like another threat.
Yeah, I think we were on a similar wavelength with Amethyst Emerald here, because like it's 2 goats, right? So if you're playing some kind of really wide, fast aggro Emerald Amethyst, you have your 4 goats, obviously again before rotation, right? But you have your goats and you have this and you have your white roses. Like you could now make Emerald Amethyst burn like real scary real quick with a card like this.
Yeah,
So
and the locations too. Like there's, it's very scary.
Well, and even pre-rotation, like you mentioned, like the Amethyst Emerald like Diablo decks are a thing right now. So now you're just taking a little bit off the top end and you're just plugging some of these cards in as your top end. But yeah, I mean, you still got to worry about the Diablo shift with this coming down a little bit more if you want to do that. And you have, both the 1-cost Diablos, the purple and the green, that both do some good stuff, So yeah, I think this will definitely be seen, and then we'll have to see, especially post rotation, what do those decks shift, since we are going to be losing a lot of cards that we currently know until we know all the reprints. But definitely think we're going to see a lot of this card and a lot of top deck wins out of nowhere with it.
yeah, and like I would say before we move on, I just want to shout out Lorcana Goons. I caught the video, the reveal video. It was very cute.
Oh yeah.
So well done, guys.
Having the dog bring the dog. Like,
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So next up we have Madame de Wardrobe. So it's essentially the wardrobe from Beauty and the Beast. I know this is in a different language, but essentially what this says is exert it, discard an item, and you can draw 2 cards. So it's really, they knew Hiram was an issue, and this is kind of the replacement for Hiram. Even though he's banned, even if he wasn't banned, this would be his replacement for rotation. But essentially, you got to have an item in hand, and you're going to be able to draw those 2 cards. So not as good as a Hiram, but at the same time, we all know Hiram maybe was a little too good. And we got this.
Yeah, I think like having Hiram and this and the new Tamatoa with all the one drop items that draw cards was just going to be a little too much. So it kind of makes sense. I see a little bit more of why the ban happened. As unfortunate as it is for a lot of my blue steel friends.
Yeah, I would agree. I think again, coming from a game like Magic, sometimes you see some of these bans or these changes before you see the next set, and you're like, "Why did this happen? This is so bad." But then when you see that next set, and you're like, "Oh, okay, I could see that when you have this card plus that card plus this card," and they were getting in front of it. And honestly, this could be one of the very big reasons, like you mentioned, having Hiram be able to blow up a popsicle, having this one be able to discard a popsicle, and then all of a sudden Tamatoa gets them both back, and you're just like, oh yeah, you just got 4 cards plus, within that exchange, and so definitely this could have very well been the reason that he was targeted, even if at the time I didn't agree, but I may agree now.
Yeah, it's definitely a decent card. Maybe you'll get replaced. I just feel like Fortisphere 2 was like a big hit. Like the fact that it was like a one cost, and then like it just made those decks clunky. Like I remember trying to play Zan's list after, and there was no way. It just felt bad. Like I couldn't even beat you once with it. Like, but this is going in like the right direction, and then hopefully there's more complementary cards that brings this archetype back.
Yeah, and the fun thing is this isn't allies, so again, looking at heroic, you may make one of those crazy item decks, because one of the cool things about heroic is there are a few cards that get around the singleton rule, like microbots. So this is an ally plus microbots. Discard a microbot, draw 2 cards, and having 20 microbots in your deck could be something that could work, along with other, sprinkled in cards in there. Or maybe you go mono blue. You go mono blue with Oswald as your main character. You got this as your ally. You got tons of microbots in there. I don't know. We'll see.
Honestly, this card is gross with the new Tamatoa because he's legendary, right?
Yeah, he is.
So you just have him, and then this is your ally, and you pitch and just get it back. Like,
that's
gross.
That's your protection, right?
Gross.
Instead of it being in your hand or inked or whatever, you're just like, I'm just gonna throw him in my discard. I'll get him back later. All right, so moving on, we've got another I would consider gross card in the fact that this card is going to be insane in standard, in general, or at least my opinion here, is Mulan charging ahead, 3/3 for 4, uninkable. It's reckless, so it's kind of like the mini Maui here, but during your turn, this card gets evasive, and it can challenge ready characters. So this card plus Mushu, giving it resist, and the fact that it has evasive, so it can literally attack anything on the board, gain the resist, gain the lore for attacking. I think this card may be a problem. Not a bannable problem, but like this is gonna get some people that are not looking at it.
Yeah, when you're playing these colors, it's always going to be a threat. Like whenever you play something on the board, you're like, where's this Mulan gonna come from? Especially when you're playing evasive characters, you think you're safe, but no card is safe when this is on the board, which I think is pretty cool. I don't think I play these colors that often, but it would be interesting to see like all the removal and damage you could do with these 2 colors.
Yeah, I've dabbled a little bit with red steel or ruby steel challenger decks, and yeah, the thing I love about this card is it just says I'm going to swing and hit something no matter what. Like, regardless of if you or your opponent like it, it's happening. Because it hits the ready characters, it has evasive. Yeah, it's really, really flavorful. I really like this card a lot. Li Shang was already a banish on site, and this is just
Yeah.
curving into Mushu like that. This is banish on site too. It's scary.
Yeah, that was the one thing. I think Li Shang does not have evasive, so he's really good at like sneakily hitting stuff. But the fact that this just says like, I don't care if it's a Diablo or whatever, it's going down. And again, with that Mushu giving it resist, this card's going to stick around for a while too, as it hits stuff. So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with that deck. It may be rotation before that deck kind of pops off. But there's so many good cards. I actually faced one at Set Champs this past weekend. Ended up getting the win there, but that was just because they weren't fully optimized. They didn't have 4 Maui Sharks for that evasive threat and things like that. So like having this as that evasive threat is going to definitely make the deck viable.
Those Shark
within there.
Robin Hood decks might be decent. I
Yeah.
might revisit it.
I think the other thing to note with this card too is people forget reckless characters can sing.
Yes.
So this is a great like body that can sing Be King Undisputed or Along Came Zeus in this color pair. So that's something to watch out for too. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So again, I think this makes the colors more viable going into this next set, especially with other cards I'm sure that are getting spoiled. But I'm excited to see what happens. And of course, it's a princess. So if you're running some kind of princess deck, just another really good card to include in there. All right. So next up, we have another legendary. This is Pinocchio Strings Attached 0/4 for 4. It is inkable, evasive. Once during your turn, whenever you ready this character, you may draw a card. So again, the evasive is going to potentially, there's a lot of evasive in this set, so we'll have to see what that looks like. But potentially, this card may draw you a card or two along with tapping for 2 lore. What do you guys think about this one?
Yeah, there's a lot of invasive in this set. It's like almost every single card is invasive at this point. But yeah, this is definitely a strong card, especially at the end of the game. Tap, draw. You could probably top deck something. And yeah, I think the only bad thing is like you can't really attack anything with this. Can't really challenge. But besides that, like it's a pretty decent card. I think it'll get some play.
Yeah. I mean, there's ways currently, and we'll see if there are ways after rotation to like pump this card. Like you've got Crab, and you've got depending on what color you're pairing with, you can easily have it delete a Diablo if you need to. But I do really like this card. It's an aggressive quester. You get that card advantage if it sticks around. So it's like, yeah, you have to use whatever removal you have on this, or I'm just going to get card advantage. And I think post rotation, it'll be a really, if it doesn't see play before, it will see play after. Like if we don't have Goat, if we don't have Rabbit, it might be that 4-drop that goes in with Genie to just, and you've just got these nice racers that also give you cards.
Yeah.
So,
and there's also like a potential of using, like you think of currently, which I know some of these are rotating out, but like LeFou or Shield of Virtue. So like right now you're typically using that to like save or protect a character, but now you can be like, all right, I'm gonna tap for 2, I'm gonna untap it, draw a card, right? And depending on the untap, some things can untap and you can still quest with them again. Most things can't, but there are a few ways of doing it to where maybe you even get 4 lore plus a draw card off of it.
Yeah, like you came back with this card is just gross. 4 lore and another card, like that's disgusting.
Yeah. So I think there's going to be some potential stuff you can do with it. It may be too cute for competitive play or something like that, but definitely interested to see who's going to kind of take advantage of what the card can do when it untaps. And like I said, worst case, you're getting to draw 2 at the beginning of your turn, every turn, with your normal draw plus his readying. So that could be pretty big for you. All right. So we got Phaline Playful Fawn 2/4 uninkable. It's evasive. So again, that evasive tag everywhere. While you have a character in play with more power than each opposing character, this character gets 2 extra lore. So this can be tapping for 3 as long as you control essentially the biggest character on the board. This one's an interesting one. And I'll start with it just a little bit in the fact that it's each opposing opponent or each character from your opponents. These are interesting cards when it comes to heroic in general. We have like the 3-drop Sisu that says it gets +1 attack for every card
yeah,
opponent's hand. So it's like a 7 or a 14 towards the beginning of the game, to where this is easy to be able to have 3 lore. Again, we'll have to see as far as standard goes, because again, you look at Flynn, right, being a counterpart to kind of this. Do you have the most power? But definitely when you get to heroic, those cards are much easier in a lot of cases to actually have the most power, unless you're playing, again, somebody with that 10/10 Mickey and they're dropping it on turn 6.
Right.
So, Any thoughts around this card, guys, or just meh? 3 lore for 4.
Yeah, it's like another Flynn, seems like, but like evasive, another evasive card.
Yeah, another evasive for the red-purple evasive deck that we
Yeah.
know is going to end up being the post-rotation archetype for that. I mean, it curves really well with Maui Hero to All. It'll be great with Shark post-rotation. Yeah, I mean, evasive questers are always good, and if they happen to have a cost of 4 or greater, there's usually really good things they can sing. So,
Yep.
yeah,
Absolutely.
it'll be a good card. I think it'll see some fringe play probably post rotation.
Yeah, I agree. Like you said, I think the evasive deck will probably try these right at the beginning. It just may like we said, we've got 9 sets. No, we've got 9 sets going on with this set coming out. So like that's a lot of cards to look through and figure out. Or I guess 8 sets because Fabled's 9, but like lots of sets, lots of cards trying to figure out what you're going to do pre-rotation, but definitely post-rotation. I see an uptick in people trying out this card even more. All right, so the next one we got, this one also comes in a promo card. So the pre-release events, you're going to get a promo of this if you go there, but Pull the Lever. It is an action, 3-drop inkable. Choose one, draw 2 cards, or each opponent chooses and discards a card. So we got a dual mode card here. Prashant, I know you kind of looked at this one a little bit the other day. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think this is a pretty good card, especially for purple green, and then of course heroic when you say each opponent, one of those cards. So it's like what are you gonna do? Are you gonna draw 2 cards, or are you gonna just hurt everybody in the process? Like, especially when you have one of those in your hand, like someone that like, what are you gonna do? Especially at the end of the game too. Like, it's like, all right, what do I get rid of, or what do you want someone to get rid of? Especially at heroic games, like at the end, I think I won by having like a prince or something, and I gained like an extra lore. So you just don't want to screw everybody over by playing it. But I think this is an awesome, strong card.
How about you, Matt? Like, is this as potentially Friends on the Other Side rotates out? Is this comparable? I know it's not a song, but like, do we think it'll be play, or is maybe even the 2-color locking it in too hard?
So I'm kind of glad it's not a song, because anytime you see like choose one, anything that's modal, always going to be a good card. I think if you made this free, essentially, like, oh, I pay a lore, or I pay the lore I would have gained this turn to draw 2 or make you discard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I'm relieved it's not a song. I'm kind of relieved it's color locked. I will admittedly be sad if Friends on the Other Side doesn't make it post rotation. I do love my Amethyst decks. I can live with bounce package.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not making it. Like, that would be unrealistic to expect all of that to go forward. No, this card's phenomenal. Honestly, if it were a song, it would be really scary and heroic. Just being able to repeatedly make everybody discard a card, like getting a 3-for-1, like yeah. No, a great card. I think I was talking to my buddy Mark over at Additional Ink, and he was talking about this card in core, and he was speculating people might swap the Kuzco out for this.
Mm-hmm.
Because it gives you the option to draw or make your opponent discard, and it's inkable. Like, it might kind of just fit into that slot and free up the 4-drop slot, which is always kind of contestable. But yeah, phenomenal card. I really like it. I think it being kind of dual ink locked is probably the right move. It would be very abusable for just Amethyst or Emerald to run with this. So
Fabled will get the wrong lever card that gives something else within this. But yeah, again, I think that'll be a pretty good card there. We've definitely hit on this card on some of our past videos and things like that as this got spoiled, but we've got Jafar, High Sultan of Lorcana. This is a 5-drop uninkable 4/4. This was shown off on the lore within there. It's also the set champs card for this next set. So there's a whole super awesome looking version of this. But task for 3, and whenever this character quests, you may draw a card, then choose and discard a card. If it's an illusion card or a losing character card, is discarded this way, you may play that character for free. And one of the things we talked about is this card is going to be so good because you have things like Giant Cobra, where you discard Giant Cobra, play it for free, discard a card, to gain your 2 lore. This is gaining you 3. So you're getting like 5 lore all in that one interaction plus another big body on the board. It just seems so good. So
yeah, I'm honestly glad it says if an illusion character card is discarded this way and not just discarded,
just
because like you could just loop that and discard another illusion for the 2 lore off of Cobra and get it. Like that would, I'm glad they worded it the way they did.
Or just a whole new world. Like, oh, here's 6 illusions. Let me go play all those for free.
Yeah. Well, like speaking of a whole new world, you can just shift this guy into Striking Illusionist, at least for a set, illusions are playable with this guy for sure.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. There's some other cards in here about how to pull stuff back from your discard and things like that. So, even if you had a world where your illusion, like your Giant Cobra, was banished, there's a way to pull it back, quest with him again, and then just do it all again. So I think this realistically, like Zan did really well with this whole Jafar wheel deck at the event the other day. We've seen it more and more pop up at set champs to where after this rotation, or not rotation, after this set drops and we have everything we have currently plus these new cards, I think Amethyst Steel or Steel Amethyst, like it's gonna be so good just adding a few of these cards like this.
Yeah, especially if I could win with it at a set champ. Like anybody could win with it at a set champ. Like this deck was so good, and then the fact like we're getting more cards that add in, and then hopefully the deck's even more optimized going forward. It's just that everyone's gonna catch on to it. That's the only problem.
Yeah, absolutely. So
maybe
we'll
it's
have
a good
to,
deck.
yeah. So we'll have to see like again what other illusions get spoiled through the week, just to see what else we can do with this. But we definitely started to see a few of them popping up that look pretty good when you get to play them for free. So
yeah.
All right, so I'm going to jump down to this Jasmine first, and then we'll look at the other Jasmine. But we've got the 1-drop Jasmine, Resourceful Infiltrator. She's a 1/2 Storyborn Hero Princess. When you play this character, you may give another chosen character resist 1 until the start of your next turn. And of course, she taps for 1 lore here. What do you guys think? Like, is that resist 1? I like the resist 1, but like she's a 1-drop. Is it something where you have to hold this card to like turn 2 or 3 at this point?
I think it's still, it might be situational. I think this is a card I would ink most of the time. And then like, if I get it at the end of the game, I'm like, oh, I have this card. Maybe I could use this in this situation. But besides that, like, that's the only time I feel I would actually use it.
I think at face value, it's not like super impressive, right? But when you think about the fact that we now just got a shift to Jasmine for this, that's something to consider. You can turn 1 this, hope it survives, and then shift on 2. This also synergizes with like Calhoun and Smee pretty well, because I know they're trying to push the blue steel ally archetype. And I mean, if I'm top decking this, or if I whirled into this, let's just say I decide to play Whole New World with my ally deck, I can drop a Smee, drop this, and drop this after and give it resist so it doesn't hurt itself at the end of the turn. Like there are some applications for this in a blue steel ally archetype, and just providing a decent shift target is not terrible. I think it might see some fringe play in very specific decks. I don't see it being like an evergreen card. By any means, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see who builds with this.
Yeah, and the kind of deck you were talking about, like the Kiwi Birds type style deck, like that's what came to my mind too. Of Smee comes down on 2, you play her on turn 3. You're giving Smee that resist so he doesn't take the damage at the end of turn. Or I didn't even think about Calhoun being turn 2 Calhoun, this on 3, giving Calhoun another resist. So like she literally takes no damage running into anything on the board. That would have been at that time. So yeah. And you mentioned, so we'll jump over there. The other Jasmine here, we've got a 4-drop Jasmine, shifts for 2 Whenever this character quests, look at the top 3 cards of your deck. You may reveal an ally character card and put that in your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. A 2/5 taps for 1. So realistically, like if we think of that line, right? Smee on turn 2 or Calhoun, you do your 1-drop Jasmine, give it resist. You can also just shift this literally both those cards in turn 3. Get the value of the resist, but then have this shift.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the other nice thing about her is like just getting a long game Zeus or a How Far I'll Go on turn 2 is just kind of insane.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's something to consider. But
yeah, I didn't even think about the because we've seen like with Steel Song, right? We've seen the whole turn 1 Cinderella, so turn 2 you have Let the Storm Rage On, and then they're playing Vanessa or something like that to where or Troubadour now. So turn 3 they can do Zeus, but I didn't even think about the fact that this is a turn 2 Zeus on the board possibility. So one of the more quicker shifts. I mean, in the past we had the Evil Queen for a while, or not? Yeah, the Queen for a while.
Yeah, the Amber Queen. Yeah,
where you could play 1 and shift on 2, but that disappeared a long time ago. But that was always a really strong play coming in from the wheel and the grab your swords decks. All right, so going to the next card, we have Chief Bogo. This is one I'm super excited about because I love Mufasa, and I think this is the closest we're going to get after rotation to any type of Mufasa. But you mentioned it, Steel Fasa, and I think even after rotation, this may be the card. I mean, it says during an opponent's turn, whenever one of your characters with Bodyguard is banished, you may reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a character card with 5 or less, you may play that card for free. Otherwise, put it on top of your deck. It's a 5/5 for 6 inkable, taps for 1. Not exactly like Mufasa because you are limited on how big the character can be, but this could be pretty good, getting you some free cards out there.
Yeah, this is a ridiculous card now looking at it. Like, if he's on the board, your Bodyguard, of course, they're your first line of defense. If they go down, you're putting another card out, like, and then it's your turn again. You could play more cards, have more cards with Bodyguard. Like, you're just widening the board and winning with this card out.
yeah, and we have a lot of good like bodyguards that are 5 or less. Like we talked about him earlier, Bagheera is really good. We still have Chenpo in right now. I mean, and if we're talking about heroic, this can hit Lady Cluck.
Yeah.
If you've got those 3 colors, right?
Yeah.
Like
you have
it's
I just drew a blank, but I'm gonna come back to it. But I drew a blank, but there's another really, really good bodyguard in there because you've got the whole bodyguard deck in heroic because Tristan runs that, and there's so many good 5-drop bodyguards.
And you've got it's 5 or less, right? So you've got Pluto.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is the new Pluto that got spoiled? Is that a 4 or 5-drop? The 2/7 that gains.
I have to look because I know the mini's more than that. The mini's an 8-drop, I think, but Pluto maybe a 6-drop.
Oh, I think it was a 6-drop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so they did that rather intentionally, which is good, honestly, because that would be crazy. But yeah, I mean, we still have a lot of good cards in that range too. Like, I mean, as short-lived as it'll be, you could hit a Rapunzel, heal something, and draw some cards off of it.
Yeah.
Just really cool card. I'm excited for him. I'm really excited for him in heroic. I also have a bodyguard deck that I play at my locals for heroic. I'm using the Mickey, the shift Mickey, that you draw a card for each bodyguard character that you have.
Yep.
But this guy might be up for that main character slot for me.
Yeah, especially with the amount of bodyguards that are being printed this set, you may just have enough in your deck to where you don't necessarily have to just have your Mickey coming down to draw those cards. Because if he stays on the board, and again, this is during your opponent's turn, so when you're playing 4-person multiplayer and your stuff is being banished on whoever's turn, you're kind of getting that free roll within the deck.
Oh, was the other 5-drop Mittens?
Mittens is a really good one, but I think it was Bolt a bodyguard.
Oh, I think he is.
Yeah,
the one that readies, like you can.
Yeah. 4 lore?
No, not the new one. The one from current set, so not new set coming out. I was thinking he's a 5-drop. Bolt. Steel Amber.
Yeah, I'm looking it up. Hold on. Yeah, he's a 5-drop.
Yeah.
But he's no, he's not. Bolt Superdog, the Shift 3/5, the Quest for 2.
Is he not a
No,
bodyguard?
he's not a bodyguard, but he's still a good hit.
Yeah.
He's still a really good hit.
Yeah. But yeah, Mins is one of those that's pretty ridiculous. Got Tristan a lot of lore coming in on that. So yeah, a lot of good hits on this. Again, not quite as good as Mufasa, and the fact that Mufasa could hit that 10-10 Mickey, but this is one that's repeatable. Whereas Mufasa is just a one time when he's banished. This is a potential that, board wipe comes down and you get 3 new cards on the board, which a lot of decks aren't going to be able to handle there. All right, so the next card I have is an enchanted. So we are starting to see some of the enchanteds coming in. This is Bambi Little Prince. Some people are saying this may be the new GOAT, but he's essentially a 3-drop, non-inkable, 1/1. Whenever you play this character, you gain 1 lore. He taps for 3, which is really good. And whenever an opponent plays a character, return this back to your hand. So this one's interesting because I think a lot of people are comparing it to GOAT and the fact that you're going to play it, gain a lore, they're going to do something, you bounce it back to your hand. But I also feel like he's a 1/1. So when you tap him to gain that 3 lore, I don't think he's being bounced back to your hand. I think they're going to run into him unless maybe they just don't have anything on the board before it comes back to your hand to gain that 1 lore. But I don't know. I think it's a really interesting card, and it does make your opponents have to play a certain way so it doesn't get bounced back to your hand.
Yeah, I think it's an early game threat since it's a 3 cost. Like, it's like, all right, I put it on the board, I gain 1 lore, and now you have to deal with it because I could quest for 3 next turn. So it's like, all right, they're wasting maybe a card or they're putting damage on a character they really don't want to. But I don't know. Like, the fact that it's not inkable and you could get it in your hand that early, that's the only downside I see from it.
Yeah, it's definitely screaming I want to be in an aggro deck, like a double A aggro deck, right? And like with those, like I think like having uninkable 3-drops isn't the end of the world. But the nice thing about this is it occurs really well after like a 2-drop bodyguard. Either the Simba that we all like to use, the 2/3, or like we have the new Prince that's a 0/5. So like they're gonna have a hard time getting through that if they don't have a brawl or some kind of hard removal. And the other nice thing is you can protect, so you can play a bodyguard on 2, play this on 3, gain your lore. If they can't get through that bodyguard, or let's say they're like, oh, like I can get through it and I can like rush this thing in to take care of it, this card is immune to rush. If they rush a character in to deal with it, you bounce it back to your hand.
Yeah.
So, like, I think this is a really powerful card for double A. I probably will try something with it because
I think it becomes an interesting interaction from an opponent's perspective, where you go, okay, do I play something to bounce it back to your hand, knowing you're going to gain 1 more lore, or do I, try to just run into it and take it out, right? Because there's kind of that 2 different roles there. Because if I don't do, like, when you play it, if I don't bounce it back, then I'm letting you tap it for 3. But if I bounce it back, I'm giving you 1 lore. So it's kind of this like weird push and pull of how do I do that? And to your point with the bodyguards, we also have Kidda, the 2-drop Kidda that's a 2/3 in steel. So now you can be in Amethyst Steel with a 2-drop Kidda coming down to protect it when you play it on 3. So it's a very interesting card because I feel like we had the Pinocchio that was I think Pinocchio was a 2-drop, taps for 3, uninkable, but that's all he did as a 1/1. So this one gives you that whole like bounce piece that just kind of, and the 1 lore when it comes down. So it's kind of this really interesting card. So I'm curious how it's going to fare. And again, as an opponent, it's going to be some tough decisions on how you deal with this card.
Yeah. This card's going to be frustrating for sure for control decks.
Yeah. All right. So next up we have Tiana, 2/4 Singer 6. When you play a song, each opposing character gets -1 attack until the start of your next turn. 4-drop uninkable, taps for 1. And with this one, Singer 6, always a big thing when you comes to Amber. But I specifically kind of threw this in the one to talk about because this whole, whenever you play a song, each opposing character in heroic, that's pretty huge. Being able to sing a song or play a song or whatever, and then all of a sudden every character from all three opponents are now getting weakened to where they can't attack or attack each other or do whatever. It makes a huge difference on the board states.
And it's till your next turn. So technically it stays that way until it comes back to you, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, I think we're just seeing another like kind of stacks effect from a Tiana card, which I'm here for. I would love to see more of that in Amber. Let that be an Amber archetype. Yeah, this is, I don't know, in heroic, this just I can talk about core too, but like I think in heroic this is really gross because like let's say your main character, like you put this in the 97, right, for like the big Cinderella, the singer 9, and then you have Under the Sea.
Yeah.
And then this just helps sing Under the Sea, and you get to like, I'm pretty sure because like whenever you play a song, I guess the song would have to resolve.
Yeah.
So you would probably
resolve before you do it. But yeah.
So maybe you would like hard cast a different song. Or like sing something to her and then play the Under the Sea, but like just being able to like get that ice block effect on the entire board is just phenomenal. And sometimes that -1 is all you need for an effective trade-off, like with challenging. So and it pairs well with like Ruby Amber, I feel like would use this in core, right? Because you can put something in like a brawl range for the moment or a Medusa range for the moment. Yeah.
Or until rotation a Sisu range where you're taking everything down and you're playing big Sisu or shifting big Sisu, since she can sing a bigger spell, a Bee King or whatever. But yeah, there's some. I think there's a lot with this. You also mentioned the other legendary Tiana that we have that essentially while she's exerted, everything's gonna get -3. Challenging into your stuff. So like already taking a couple ones off of everything plus that, like you're like, you can't do anything about my board without, actual direct damage type cards or Ruby cards. So yeah, it could be interesting. Like again, I don't know if I foresee this card like taking a lot of cards out of current Steel Song, but definitely after rotation, they are going to have to find a couple new singers, and Singer 6 can sing pretty much every spell that you would want it to sing currently in the formats. So I could see maybe as a 2 of being put in some decks over maybe some of those cards that are there currently. All right. So one thing I wanted to pull up here is we have our first reprints. So we heard we were getting reprints over in Fabled, and we were told in Fabled they will have the current art. So no new art in Fabled on the reprints, but we have some new art here. So I don't want to dive too much on this, but at the same time, we already have this Captain Hook, just different art, and he is being reprinted, so he's going to stick around with those pirates. What are you guys' thoughts just in general on new art? And I believe we're going to have one more reprint in this set with new art that'll be revealed later this week.
Yeah, I think with collectability, with the cards having new art, I think that's pretty good, because it's like, all right, I had this one with the old art. It means something compared to them just reprinting the same thing over and over and just putting a different number at the bottom. So I think that's pretty cool that they're actually doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I love this art. I definitely will be trying to swap them out in my current decks that run Hook. Not that the other art isn't good. Like, all the art is honestly really good. Like, they're not going to put anything really bad out, like, but I just the whole, like, this card feels like Forceful Duelist to me.
Yeah. The other one, I think he just has like the little lamp he's
got,
holding.
yeah.
He doesn't feel like he's dueling.
I feel like it should be like Captain Hook Swamp Walker or something, like.
Exactly.
But yeah, this definitely feels like the tag.
Yeah, I feel like the other one just reminds me of like a Scooby Doo ghost.
Yeah,
Oh,
still a cool vibe. Yeah,
but
still a cool vibe. But yeah,
this one definitely feels more like a duelist with the hook being a sword, essentially right there. But speaking of that, we do have a Captain Hook that was also spoiled with that card. And this one looks so good. So Captain Hook, the Pirate King, Floodborn Villain King Pirate Captain. Tons of tags on here. 4/5, 5 that's inkable, but he can shift 3, task for 2 lore, and once during your turn, whenever an opposing character is damaged, your pirate characters get +2 attack and gain resist 2 for this turn. And I honestly feel like Emerald Steel Pirates was always so close. And now with the reprint of Hook, the 1-drop, and then shifting this on 3, this could make Pirates good.
Yeah, like playing the like other Hook on 1, playing
Yeah.
Smee, and then playing this on 3.
Yeah,
Well,
Smee doesn't
that's
take
insane.
damage. The other thing to keep in mind is like this just says when another character is damaged. So you can use like a grab your swords. You can use fire the cannons, and this will trigger to give all your stuff resist too, to finish it off for your turn.
Yeah. I'm. It's one of those semantics things again. I'm glad it says once during your turn because I would hate to be on the other end of grab your sword and go like, okay, so your pirates have resist 10. Like what? But no,
goes up.
yeah, no, thank you. I'll pass on that. But no, the reprint makes sense, right? They want this card to be viable post rotation. They have to give us a cheap Hook to shift on. So the Forceful Duelist reprint is pretty sound for this.
I
really cool card.
think with Tink, right? Big Tink being reprinted. Again, that's going to do 1 damage to everything. But I honestly think we'll probably see Grab Your Swords be reprinted. That's my guess. I don't know, but I think Fabled, that's a pretty solid, decent card. And if it is reprinted, this gives us back that shift 3 to Grab Your Swords, with everything that we're seeing with the evasive stuff and things like that and the other cards. So, keep that Chernodog deck in check. that could be a definitely viable combo after rotation. Again, that's only if we see like a Grab Your Swords, but I would imagine we should see something similar to that.
Right. I would hope cards like Grab Your Sword and Be Prep, like those staple control removal pieces, make it.
Yeah, and I think like with Be Prep and again, we're gonna have to see what they reprint, but like even if they don't give us specifically Be Prep, they have to give us a card that's like similar in some way. Even if it's like not a song and it's an action or whatever, like they have to give us something, because if we lose all of the board wipes, your dog decks like this one right here with this lady is going to be too insane. So lady, family dog, 3-drop inkable, 2/2, taps for 2 lore, and when you play this character, you may play a character card with 2 or less for free. That's insane. So turn 3, I'm going to play this and get another 2-drop. So, potentially 4 lore on the board because I'm playing a piglet with this or something.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Where you like, I don't know, you play this and you have like a Daisy out too.
Yeah. So
like, I don't know. This seems like this will go in like almost every deck. You have to.
Yeah. Well, the gross thing about this is like you have a piglet in play on 2, and then you play this on 3. So even if they removed your other character or something, like you're still questing for 3 with Piglet. Like this is a silly card, and I will absolutely play with it until people tell me I can't.
Yeah. Or even like a Simba, right? Like you can have the 2-drop Simba to where when you play this, you play the Simba for free and put him in bodyguard. So even if you had that whole Piglet route, you have a protector for Piglet now, out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean Amber Steel. This is gross too.
Yeah, it's like crazy how like Lady and the Tramp have all these like OP cards in Lorcana recently.
Yeah, and this is a rare as well. So like to me that screams super rare more, but somehow it's a rare, which means they're going to be fairly easy to open and find. So we're going to be seeing a lot more of them, compared to legendaries and things like that. So this card in general, like again, I think. If I was looking at every card that's been spoiled, this is the card I feel like that's going to be like the nuisance, troublesome card everywhere. Even though it's a 2/2, the fact that it's already putting another card down, so you're getting 2 cards, it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, free Smee or Calhoun seems really gross.
Yeah. Absolutely. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one. Honey Lemon Costumed Catalyst. So it's a 3/3, taps for 2 lore, 4-drop inkable. Whenever you play a Floodborn character, if you use Shift to play them, you may return chosen character to their player's hand. So again, going the Bucky route in the fact that, or the eroded Bucky route, that they have to be shifted, but you're gonna be bouncing stuff. And in the blue green in general, we have the whole like new hero that was spoiled, the 2-drop that can untap Floodborns, and the fact that we have like Baymax that can shift onto anything. You've got Diablo, you've got the big hero in there, shifting to give everything evasive and ward. Like this could be crazy because right now there's just not good removal, and this is gonna pretty much just bounce crap back to their hands.
Yeah, it's going to allow that deck to play tempo, like while setting up an evasive and warded board state. Like that's just, yeah, it's kind of silly, but
yeah. I messed around with the deck when the set first came out, and I felt like what it struggled with is once people had stuff on the board, you just couldn't do anything with them. Like there were like you had to put like Hades or Let It Go or whatever in your top end. Or we don't care, we don't talk about Bruno or something like that. And now you have a card where you can like, all right, I don't necessarily have to remove them. I'm just going to put them back in your hand. And you can shift multiple things pretty easily. And half your deck shifts. So, and again, if we keep Morph, maybe Morph gets a reprint. And then you're going to be good to go with this card. So overall, I think the card's good. That's another one that could be interesting in Heroic, just being able to bounce multiple opponent stuff back and goes back into the like, hey, which, if you don't do something to me, don't attack my character, which one of these you want to bounce? A lot of
yeah, you can politic a lot with that. Yeah,
loving that. So we got Thumper Young Bunny. He's a 2-drop inkable 0/3. Can exert him to give chosen character +3 attack this turn, taps for 1 lore. What do you think about this, Matt? I know you messaged this over to me. We saw another card that cared about your attack power a little bit ago.
Yeah, this one was specifically like a heroic pick for me because like anything that says chosen character lets you do like what we were talking about a second ago. Like it lets you be political with people at the table, and that's half of multiplayer formats like Commander and Magic the Gathering. Like you have to politic with people a little bit to get things through. And so this Thumper is like, hey, I can buff your thing so that, or I can, you know what I mean? Well, yeah. I guess it's this turn. So maybe not. Yeah. Maybe I didn't think that all the way through. But like it's still going to be able to let you like, pump things up and take care of problems. It also is just really nice with cards like World's Greatest Criminal Mind, the things that care about high strength, or like the mini bodyguard. So I just think this card is going to be low key like good, and it might even be decent in like maybe core, definitely sealed. This card is going to do a lot of work. So
well, the fact that it's like a 2-drop and it could give something Challenger 3, like you could get rid of a threat early in the game, which is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is we saw the Bambi, right? The Bambi needed the most power or needed something to have the most power on your side. So this helps move that 3 around. I'm not like fully in love with the card just because like support does the same thing. I know it's different colors and everything. And I don't feel like anybody's really found a deck that support matters, if that makes sense when you're doing it. And at least with support, you get to quest, gain lore, and then give that power somewhere else. But I do get that this is in Ruby, which is a different world. So, even going back to like the whole Mushu style deck, like this could be a good 2-drop where you're just like, hey, this Mulan that we saw earlier, she needs that +3 so she can, actually take down something a little bit bigger than her 3/3 that she has. So I could see this being playable. It's inkable too, so worst case, you're in a matchup you don't like, you just ink it away for you. I think one of the things that Lorcana struggles with in general is this whole like exert a character and you can only do it on your turn. Because this would be fun to be like, again, we're not going to be doing this, but I'm just theoretically talking like Magic with the stack. So like Flynn's check to see if you have the most power at the beginning of turn, being able to like respond to that to use this or do it on somebody else's turn. Like I think that'd be really cool, but I don't ever see that changing. And if it does, it'll be a long time before they actually want to add that type of complexity to the game. But that's my only downfall, I think, to some of this. Like you were kind of thinking out loud in your brain of like, oh, you could politic on it somebody else's turn. It's like, well, not really, but
yeah, like maybe. Oh wait, but yeah.
Maybe one day.
Yeah. Still heroic playable. I think
Yeah.
I think there's a deck that'll want to be able to buff things that runs Ruby in heroic. So
And hey, he's an ally. So worst case, he's a really cheap ally for your storyboard because you have a lot of cards maybe that care about that kind of stuff for sure. All right, and so the last 3 cards we have to talk about is Huey, Louie, and Dewey. We got the nephews here, and I'm gonna have to squint my eyes to read these. But while this character is being challenged, the challenging character gets -1, so that's gonna be on Louie. He taps for 2 lore. He's 3-drop and inkable. We got a 4-drop and inkable, just taps for 1 lore, but he's a 4/4. And then we got Huey, 2-drop, uninkable, 2/3, taps for 1 lore, but says whenever this character quests, you may pay 1 less for the next character you play this turn. So kind of like a mini doc that we've had in the past, and some stuff like that. But definitely those speed up cards like we've seen with Pluto, Doc, Gaston are always playable in some of these ramp Amber decks. So I could see Huey being played. I'm not so sure about Louis or Dewey. Maybe.
yeah, no, I pretty much just sent you this to make sure you got Huey. The Louis might see some play because it does have that light Tiana effect where if something challenges it, it has to be able to hit for 4 instead of 3 to take it out. You know, so it could be a good aggro quester. But yeah, just the fact we've got Huey and you know, for heroic, that's a big deal because we have yet another cost reducer. And at least we have a replacement, more or less, for Pluto and Doc that we'll see rotate out, right? So that gives some hope for Amber being able to keep some of those cost reduction cards.
Yeah,
post rotation.
You really sent this to me for the laser snakes in the background.
Yeah, I mean, come on, look at that like combined artwork. It's so cool.
Yeah. I honestly, I love how they do this combined artwork with a lot of cards. We also had 2 the crocodiles that are the pets. They have combined artwork. They're over 2 different colors this set, but yeah, I love how they do that. It was cool years ago when Magic started doing it, and then now that we're in the Disney World and like what they can do with some of those cards, interconnecting is just really cool with that. So yeah, I'm glad they continuing to do that with a lot of these cards. But yeah, so like again, those are, I'm gonna kind of go ahead and stop sharing here, but those are the cards that we had to look at. Again, there was a lot of other cards that were spoiled. So definitely, guys, let us know in the comments, what cards did you like that we talked about? What did we miss? Like, you guys probably saw a card and be like, how did they not see this or say that about this card? So let us know how wrong we are in the comments. But definitely, if there's a card that's been spoiled as of technically yesterday or the day before, that you think is interesting enough to talk about, or you think is a really good card, let us know so we can bring it up on one of the other episodes, because we're going to be trying to do these daily as they come out with different guests throughout the week. I know Matt will have you back on some of these as well as future heroic content and stuff like that. So we do appreciate you joining. And before we wrap up, I just want to get your final thoughts, man. So far, based on spoilers, based on what you're seeing, you know, Reign of Jafar, what are you thinking, man? You excited for the set?
Yeah, I'm excited. You know, I do enjoy like aggressive archetypes because I'm very much like, I'm just like, hey, I'm going to put it out here. And if you have the answer to it, you do. Or if you don't, you don't. And then I get time to go like meander and take a bathroom break. You know, I don't want to be in rounds, you know, the entire time period. But yeah, it looks really good. There's some really fun cards. There's some really cool art. Again, I think I said this to you before we started recording, but I'm a big fan of the Aladdin franchise. And so, yeah, all the Jafar stuff is really cool. The purple steel illusion stuff looks really fun. There's a lot of cool new toys to experiment with. So I'm excited to do that and see what kind of future-proof decks I can come up with for post-rotation.
Yeah, and you're just waiting. You're waiting for that red genie Jafar to pop up.
Yep. Definitely am.
That'd be pretty cool.
How about you, Prajan? Again, I know we talked the other day with the lore cast and all of that, but we're starting to see the spoilers coming in or the reveals coming in. How you feeling so far about the set? You excited about it? How's it going?
A lot of good cards overall. I feel like aggro is getting like the best card so far. I'm really interested in that lady card, and Huey looks like pretty decent too out of the bunch.
Mhm.
But yeah, very excited for the next set.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, again, like I said, I appreciate you two joining me. Matt, any last words of where they can find you? Maybe some of the content you got coming up over on the channel that you want to plug before we wrap up.
Yeah. So I think tonight, as of when we're recording this, we're going to have our reaction to the Lorecast for Additional Ink. So that'll be up on our channel. And then we also recently put out a Chernodogs and Green Steel matchup gameplay video. We kind of lucked out. It was like right after Chernodogs did well in the German tournament. So yeah, if you want to check us out, again, we're Additional Ink on YouTube and additional_ink on Instagram, X, and I believe Blue Sky as well. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Awesome.
just check out our gameplay and yeah, it'd be a good time.
Definitely. And again, if you guys haven't done it, go over to their channel. I'll leave a link down in the description. Go over there, hit the follow button over there for their YouTube. Let's make sure all these creators, these awesome creators over in Lorcana, are getting the love that they need. Let's try to help any of these creators that haven't gotten to their 1,000 subs or monetization, all of that. Let's get there for them, because even if they can't get the thousands and thousands of views, which we don't get either, they can make the pennies like we make, right? The dollars a week, and some monetization. So help them out, guys. Again, any creators that you see over on the channel, we're going to be highlighting this week. So appreciate you guys for stopping in. Appreciate you guys for watching the video. Like I said, leave that comment. If you hadn't hit the sub, leave a like, share it out to other people, and stay tuned, because tomorrow we'll have another video going through more spoilers. So appreciate you guys. Until next time, y'all take it easy.